What's going on, guys? This is J.K. Whited from the Baseball Rebellion, here to give you this week's breakdown. And this week I went back to another prospect. This time, last time I did Jaron Kendall, player for Vanderbilt. This week I thought I would do a high school player coming out of the draft class of 2017. Looks to be probably a top pick this year in the first round. And his name is Jordon Adell. He's an outfielder, I think from Kentucky. Big build, related to, or not related to, but often thought of as a Byron Buxton type shape guy. Obviously, who's a really good player. And I looked for video on this guy, and actually I found this. Obviously, this is from Prospect Pipeline video here from, it looks like a batting practice session or a home run derby type situation. I think it's more of a batting practice, but I watched it a couple of times. I know this is not game film like normally that we use, but this is just really good, and it's a cool view. You get the synced up version of the side view and the back view here, which you can learn a lot from the back. We do a lot of front view stuff, so I thought it'd be cool just to have the back view as well linked up with the side view. And I'm just gonna play a swing here for you guys. Let you guys just kind of watch it all the way through a couple of times. I got 3 swings. Two of which were a little bit higher swings, and then one of which was a little bit of a lower pitch ball. And I know that it's a little bit slower than real speed, but you can kind of just generally make out the movements as you watch him go here. And he does a lot of really good things with his feet and his lower half, and then he does a lot of good things with his upper half too that he didn't really do in a couple game swings I saw him take, which is maybe why he has a tendency to maybe swing and miss more times than the scouts would like. But from watching him here, it's actually really, really good. So as we take him through his load, he doesn't have like a very big significant leg kick or anything like that. But what he does really well is he does have a little bit of a counter rotation inward with his front hip. So you can see him as he gets started. If you really pay attention to that front hip, he turns it in just a little bit, which brings the knee in and keeps the toe in a little bit on that front side as he begins to make his move forward. And you can see, I'll leave the lines there. You can see how he moves forward through the arrows that were already on the screen for you there. So you can see he definitely moves forward, right? I mean, there's no question about that. He's definitely moving forward to his front side. And then when he gets to his front side, right, you can also see that he is quote unquote right stayed back, where his head is staying over his back hip. So he does this on all these swings, kind of going through the lower half here first. Again, you can see him move very nicely to the front side, but keeping his weight over his back hip. You can see his upper body moves aren't very spectacular in the sense of he doesn't have a typical big Jose Bautista or Javier Baez type of bat move, but he does tip it in a little bit. So you can see he goes from kind of a slightly more than 45-degree angle bat, almost touching his shoulder here. All right, you can see really good from the back view here. You can see the angle of where his bat is, and as he goes forward and as he turns that hip in, part of his loading phase is to tip the bat up. Now, again, this is a move. It's not tip in where you might see Jose Bautista's bat, something like this, or Donaldson's. All right, you see his is more straight up and down, and that's enough for him. That's okay. And these are things that can be changed throughout a career: leg kicks, stances, bat moves, and tips and rips and things like that. But right now he's pretty simple, and I kind of like that for a kid like him, this young. I like the fact that he keeps things simple and easy to maintain. A lot of kids get into really aggressive bat moves where they're moving the bat past their head and leg kicks, and while that's nice and cool and can be very beneficial for some people, you just got to be careful that it doesn't lead down a road of missed contacts and things like that, because 1 or 2 or 3 miles per hour of maybe exit velocity isn't worth the inconsistencies that moves like that might have at contact, unless the player is capable of proving to the coach, if you're listening, if you're a swing coach or a high school coach or what have you, if he can prove to you or she can prove to you that she can handle it and be consistent with it, then it is beneficial for sure. But not everybody is as talented as this first round draft pick here, so we gotta kind of keep that in mind when we're talking about this stuff. And then from here, we're getting into when the foot hits the ground. You can see A couple of things here. So his front foot is firmly on the ground here. You can see the front hip really rotating open towards the towards the steets there. From the back view here, you can start to see his belt start to turn and his back pocket start to come towards the camera here on the back side. Very good. Again, like I said, mentioned earlier, his head staying over his back hip as his knee starts to bend in. He's just kind of allowing that knee to bend. I don't really believe that a hitter would try to think about pulling their knee to the towards the ground. I think it's just something that you just allow the back knee to bend the same way you allow the back foot to move. So when you see him turn here, you're going to see his back foot come off the ground. I don't think he necessarily thought about pulling his back foot. I just think it's something that an athletic hitter allows to happen. Whether it's subconsciously or consciously, it's not really a super forced move for most good hitters. And then kind of working, his front leg, if we're looking at his feet still, his front leg gets really straight. We can see that here at contact, really good lower half. I mean, his back foot moves, his knees come together. So, his back knee and his front knee are right next to each other. From the back view, you can really see how much he's turned. I mean, this is right at contact. And from the back view, we're used to looking at front view, but you can really see how much he's turned his back pockets. You can clearly see his number. So it's not like he stopped his turn right here and took his hands to the ball, right? I mean, he's turning his hips open, and that catches his shoulders in the bat, and he really turns it well. A couple other things at contact here we can really learn from is the eyes, man. I mean, look at that vision, look at that concentration down at the contact point from the back view and the front view. Just really, really good at seeing the back of the ball. When you keep your head back over your back hip like that and you really stop your head, and that's something he does well, I could put his head in this box, right, and go all the way through contact, and you can see how it's still in the same box from the moment his foot hit the ground and in his stride, where he's got that tension and that torque built up, and those the wrinkles around his shirt that we like to talk about. He's really got that going on, but his head never moves out of that box all the way to contact, and even past contact, it stays there for a little bit, and then he kind of pulls up and through that box afterwards, which is totally okay because the ball is long gone off that bat. So yeah, just a really impressive swing here. Now on this particular pitch, this is one of the lower ones that he does a good job, and you can really see the tilt, I think, in his shoulder. I mean, look how early back here in his swing, you can see the front shoulder up, which means the back shoulder is going down. You can see the back already. You can see that tilt in his shoulder line, and as he rotates open, he maintains it, and you can really see. You can see the top of his shoulder over here, but from the back view, which is why I like this view so much. Look at how much the tilt in his body is. He's really side bending in his obliques and in those muscles there. So if you're struggling with lifting the ball and getting the bat to go below the ball, right? We want the bat to get below the ball, the barrel too, and then work up through the ball. You can see where you got to do it, and it's not really something that happens at the point of contact. It's something that happens way back here in the beginning moves of the swing. So in my article, I talked about phases of the swing, and it has to happen in that acceleration and early phase to get behind the ball and in the way the catcher's mitt. You can see how the barrel of the bat from the back view is up here above his shoulder, and he turns it and snaps it back here behind him in front of the catcher, and then just maintains the energy throughout the rest of the turn. And he has that really nice Griffey-like, right-handed finish, which is hard to do sometimes. It look really smooth from a right-hander's perspective. This next one was a little bit of a higher pitch, and I liked it a lot because it just shows you that you can do the same thing. Here's that same inward turn of his front side. We can see that very clearly. Not a very big aggressive bat move again, very consistent. Doesn't even really pull his elbow back behind him that much. Usually you see like a much more animated kind of back elbow pull or row back sometimes. You don't see it here with him. And then on this higher pitch, notice how he still gets that tilt he wants. You can see the shoulder here, but you can see it's just not quite as much, and he flattens out. And I can't really tell you if I'd seen a better contact position point right here. I mean, this ball is clearly going off the bat. You can see him coming up to it from behind it, head staying very stationary again, knees touching. So you can see the consistencies in this swing that allows him to stay at a high level, at least compete at a high level, and then hopefully continue to make his way up into the highest levels. And then after contact, of course, he has a little bit of a pull off the ball, if you will. So he gets the contact, and I think he works the bat maybe a little bit too much towards the stands over here too soon, where I think he could probably work on getting a little bit more of a release outward, so that right hand palm up would stay, towards the center fielder, maybe a little longer. But this is an inside pitch, so like this is, you can see the pitch from the front view here. This is an inside pitch where you'd rather get the barrel out there and turning and hit this ball over the foul pole than to be too late trying to have like a perfect release and things like that, because it's an inside pitch. You want that suddenness, especially because you have less time to react to it. And again, it's BP, but it's still inside, so it's not going to, he's going to hit that away pitch maybe a little bit more, obviously, on the outside part of the plate, but he's going to let it get a little bit deeper too. So I'm really impressed with this guy's swing. I think his moves actually look way better, lower half, upper half together than Kendall's did, that I did a couple weeks ago for you guys. So I'm interested to see what happens. Obviously, he's a high school player and not a college player like Jaren is currently, and so we'll see what happens. But some of his swings and misses, I think in games, I don't think he swings up quite as well as he does, like you see here. Maybe because it's BP and it's easy, and he's calmer and more relaxed, because this looks really easy. This is almost a perfect contact position, I think, with his head and the rotation and the angles and all that stuff. So he's got the ability to take a really good swing. I just hope that he doesn't let the game situation maybe press himself to do more, to be jumpier and things like that oftentimes games make us do, because they're games and we feel like an added pressure to be better. And he takes a really good batting practice swing, really uphill, which you don't see a lot of talented guys do, especially in the big leagues. They swing down a lot, take kind of a BP swing, and then they swing more like this in the game. So hopefully he figures out how to do this more in the game. Doesn't miss so much, but he's definitely got all the power tools, and obviously the athleticism is a big part of it, man. But I'm telling you, that swing is really good too. So here you go, Jordon Adell, outfielder, class of 2017. Keep your eyes open for him. See if he continues to do big things this year in high school, and then we'll see where he goes in the draft. But I'm excited to see where this swing takes him, because I think it's really good. Thanks, guys.